Hello, everybody. I am Jamie Dawn, your revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of August 29th through September, I'm going to say 6th, which is a Monday. Normally I do like a Sunday to Sunday, but because we have a new moon in Virgo on Monday the 6th, and Mercury, who is moving into Libra this week, will start its shadow before it goes retrograde at the end of the month. I'll talk more about that in other weekly videos. But for now, let's talk about Mercury moving into Libra on Monday this week on the 30th. It is an air sign, Libra is. And Mercury rules the mind. It moves very fast when it is in air. It is, think of the air as like the wind, right? We know that, but the mind, it moves like the wind. And if you notice that our mind can have so many different ideas and ways in which it communicates. And when we create stories or we have these moments where we're trying to organize our thoughts or we like to learn, all of that is very mercurial, and also connecting and communicating what it is we're thinking or feeling. And thoughts and feelings have a tendency to go together. So we can play with this just a little bit, especially when Mercury's in Libra. It thinks about romance. It thinks about balance and fairness when it comes to relationships. And it has these ideas or stories about what we ultimately learn about ourselves in relationship, maybe what we want when it comes to love and romance, and then we can communicate it. This is also a very social and playful energy. And Mercury actually doesn't mind being in Libra. It's not its favorite, but it's not bad either. It actually brings in quite a bit of diplomacy as well. So if you are working with the relationship dynamics, which most of us are, because we're in relationship to everything, right? It's not just people. We can be in relationship to money. We can be in relationship to nature, to our animals, so there's relationships that happen all the time. And in this energy that we have this week, we still have the sun in Virgo, and it will stay in Virgo until the 22nd of the month. And this gives us an opportunity where we get really interested in creating a work-life balance, very complementary of Mercury and Libra, who likes balance. So we may be thinking more about, okay, can I play as hard as I work? What do I need in my schedule to be organized so that I can have better habits, maybe have some self-improvement? That's all very Virgo-like. And then Mercury and Libra wants to communicate, hey, maybe I can't socialize this weekend because I have to work and pay some bills, but I'd really like to socialize later in the month if that works out too. This is also a time where we may be focused a lot on our health. We know that COVID is still happening, so a lot of people are really pushing, to be aware and do good hygiene, which I think should happen no matter what. But we're looking at that maybe a little bit more, and ways in which we can progress and maybe improve it a bit. Virgo's all about self-improvement and self-development. And so that's a lot of what we're going to be looking at. And also, we're going to be looking at maybe our routine for the year ahead, because, like I say, September 6th, Monday, which is Labor Day here in the US, is a new moon in Virgo at 14 degrees. So it is going to activate more opportunity, maybe even the energy kind of pulls us in because it is a new moon, where we set some intentions, we think about, we organize. This is all very Virgo-like, ways in which we can improve our habits and our routines throughout the next couple of months, mostly the next 6 months, because this new moon sets us up for the next 6 months. Now, the energy of Virgo is all about creating plans as well that are sustainable and that help us build a better future. And so during this new moon, we're going to be checking in with ourselves regarding, are we giving ourselves enough self-care, enough rest? So that's something else we're going to be looking at, especially when we're trying to strike a balance. Mercury and Libra, I'm going to keep talking about that as well, because it's going to stay in Libra through the entire month of September, retrograding at the end of the month, and staying in Libra through most of October as well. We are going to be thinking about this week in particular who do I partner with, or what do I relate to that is a nice reflection of myself, or that maybe I'm projecting, because relationships, we have a tendency to project the things in ourselves that maybe we want to disown. And with Mercury here, we may share that idea. We may also be speaking quite a bit about how we can collaborate with others or what we want. Our opinions may be pretty strong, but also charming, maybe a little flattery in there, that sort of thing. So I would say that, especially with Mercury going retrograde or in shadow on the 6th, that we're going to be feeling that things are not quite what they appear to be when somebody says it. I don't want to make us go paranoid, but at the same time, this is an opportunity to go, okay, let me just keep digging, or let me give it some space and see what other information shows up, because what we may say at first is not necessarily the full truth, or maybe we're omitting some things simply to keep peace. Now, remember, we won't have peace without war, so it is possible that some of the things that we say could be taken wrong, or that we maybe don't line up with somebody else's agenda or expectations. So they're going to have issues, and we can take our time. This is the gift of Mercury in Libra. We can take our time negotiating and finding a way that feels good for everybody involved. And there can be a really good understanding when it's all said and done. It just may take a little bit of time. The other thing that we're going to be looking at this week is we're going to look at our calendars and our schedules, and we're going to say, where am I wasting time? Where is this really not serving? That's that Virgo energy. So we are looking for ways that we can create a healthier, more sustainable habit in our lives. Maybe it's just getting up an extra 10 minutes earlier so that we can meditate, or we can get to the gym earlier, or we can go for a walk, or, maybe just connect with ourselves, whatever it might be. But we're looking at trying to create a healthier habit in our lives. The actions that we take in our life right now will continue to build over the next 6 months. And so here we're going to just enjoy the negotiating with ourselves and maybe with others on these new habits. What do I need to remove, and what do I need to start? Of course, as I mentioned, the relationship topics are at the top of our minds, and I will say that this gives us an opportunity to anchor in what is it that we really think about when it comes to the relationship, and how do we communicate? Because, one of the things about communication is that it can be very intimate, and it can connect us to a beloved or to ourselves in a much deeper way if we're willing to speak truth. And I think that's the part that this Mercury retrograde is going to challenge us the most, is that it's going to be, are we saying things just to keep the peace, or are we speaking truth and then allowing ourselves to go through the process of clarification, of conversation? It may mean that there's more than one conversation that shows up. The other thing I just want to point out about this week, we are going to have Mars opposing Neptune, Mars in Virgo opposing Neptune in Pisces. This allows us to have some practical magic, if you will, that we can bring down to tangible results. We can be precise, and we can take, some illusory or some fantasy a dream that we have. And it's like, you can take I'll use the example of like a stained glass window, right? And let's just say you see stained glass, and you're like, I know exactly where I could put that, and I can create this beautiful craft, this beautiful window in my house. That's just one example. And you measure it, and you make sure it all just fits just right, and it adds beauty to your home and to your world. That's one way that we can take this Neptune and Mars opposition and put it into something practical. We may look at, where in relationship you're fantasizing with your partner or with the person you're dating about what the future might look like. And then you sit down and you start planning it, and you start putting it into something tangible. A lot of us may be planning future trips overseas, or future vacations that we want to take to escape, right? And you've got to start planning and budgeting, and maybe putting getting, all the little pieces in place so that you can go and enjoy it without worry. Maybe you need to get an animal sitter, or you want to make sure your elderly parents are taken care of, whatever, so you're going to start thinking about those things this week. And I would also say that when you're looking at it from, I was talking about the creating of the healthier habits, and this is a good setup for this new moon, you're going to be looking at the ideal state. Where do I ultimately want to be in the next 6 months? So what habits, what practical things do I have to do? Where do I have to carve out in my calendar to create this and make this happen and not compromise it? And so we may really feel driven to stick with something. And this is bigger than just, those, what do you call it? New Year's resolutions. We often set the New Year's resolution, go, I'm going to get back in the gym and I'm going to lose weight and da. This is sort of a New Year's resolution kind of week, so set those intentions, but more than just setting an intention, really sit down and map out how you're going to create this new habit, and then one step at a time, no compromising, making this a non-negotiable. All right, you guys, I really hope that this helps. This may apply to relationships as well. I'm just going to keep putting that little thing in there because some of you are challenged right now in relationships. This is a great time to step back, reevaluate, and say, what are my non-negotiables when it comes to partnership and how I show up in relationship? And where have I compromised them? Maybe I need to reset that. All right. I will stop talking for now. Find me at jamiedawn.com. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. I look forward to hearing how this week goes. Have a great week, everyone.